California governor meets Salvadorans who tried to reach U.S. Ponchimalco, El Salvador. David Escobar Fuentes fled El Salvador because gangs were extorting his ranching family, while Brian Melgar Menjivar wanted to escape the pressure to join a gang that started when he was 15. Sandra Monroy, they told California government. Gavin Newsom. It was his first opportunity to interact directly with people who have left the small Central American country because of poverty and violence. Later, California has more Salvadorans than any other state, and Newsom is in the country to learn more about why thousands are fleeing for the U.S. About 3,000 unaccompanied Salvadoran children and 12,000 family members have entered the United States since October, according to U.S. Customs and Border Protection data. Fuentes and Monroy, his aunt, left for the U.S. in a caravan last October. Both said they hoped but they never made it. Authorities in Menjivar successfully made it to an aunt's home in Houston several years ago but returned home voluntarily when his mother needed help. He had crossed the border. Fuentes, Menjivar, and Monroy met with Newsom privately after sharing their stories with reporters. The International, Fuentes, 26, and Menjivar, 18, spoke to reporters about how gang violence permeates life in El Salvador, prompting many young men to leave. Violence by gang. Fuentes said his family used to own a farm with cattle and goats but was forced to sell many of them off as gangs demanded much of their profits. First his cousin, here. President Donald Trump, who is shaking up his immigration leadership over frustration with a growing number of migrants at the southern border, has accused gang members of posing as migrants to enter the U.S. and bring violence. Monroy said some people in the caravans may be affiliated with gangs but most are trying to escape violence. Most Salvadorans at the reintegration center are sent back from Mexico, arriving on buses, said Salvador Gutierrez, Deputy Chief of Mission for the International Organization for Migration. The U.S. also. Newsom and his wife, Jennifer Siebel Newsom, later watched performances at a cultural center that aims to teach children traditional crafting, song and dance to help them build job skills in Panchimalca, a rural community surrounded by largely gang-controlled areas. Catherine Vasquez, a 17-year-old who performed in one of the dance groups, said that while violence surrounds Panchimalca, she is not scared every day. She likes living there. She did not know Newsom before his arrival but said she appreciated the visit. Earlier in the day, Newsom met privately with President Salvador Tinchesern and U.S. Ambassador Jean Manis.
Raindrop, drop top, smoking, no cooking the hot pot. Fucking on your bitch, yeah, that.